Good afternoon. Welcome to BYJU'S exam prep. Welcome to your Tuesday editorial analysis. My name is Savitri Krishnamurthy. I teach English and logic at BYJU'S. Today I have taken an editorial from the Hindu. The editorial is on a burning topic. Good afternoon, Priyanshu. Um, it's on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. We all have read about it, heard about it, watched it. Good afternoon, Tarun, Sonali. All right. So this editorial is not something new. It's a topic you know about. But just look at the way the editor has looked at it from the Indian perspective and how careful he has been in his use of language. There are certain places where he has been strong, but overall he has been uh, pretty tactful, pretty discreet. That's what an editor does, and he's chosen his words very carefully. Good afternoon, everyone. Are you ready to start? Now, I'll show you each slide as usual for 40 seconds. Move on to the next slide. You read whatever you can in that 40 seconds. Some of you finish, some of you may have a line or two left. Don't bother about it, just keep reading. Then I show you the question. I'll ask you for the answer. If you can answer, answer immediately, or ask me to take you back to the passage, but that has to happen pretty soon. All right, hello Saket. Shall we start? Ready? Okay, start. Now with cat round the corner, every passage treat it like a cat passage. This is there in the cat exam. A slightly lenient question setter has given this passage. All right, start. Next slide. Next slide. All right, you've read that. Now give me the answer to this, or would you like me to show you? See, for a main point, you don't have to go back to the passage if you've read properly. And we've done the last few classes where where we discussed what is the right way to read a passage so that you get most of the main points in within 3-4 minutes of reading, and how if you're doubtful about a question you can always go back, but getting the main point you don't have to go back to the passage. Prasanna says B. Priyanshi says B. I will take you back to the passage since all of you seem to be saying B. All right. What is the main what's the question asking? What's the question asking? Message in the passage. Does it mean the same thing as main point? Summing up what the author says. What is the message the author wants to convey is the question. Correct? So, let's go back. Within hours of the massacre, this is the first one. Within hours of the massacre of Israeli citizens by Hamas fighters last Saturday, Narendra Modi tweeted India's solidarity with Israel while the histories of their conflicts and the scale of violence have been different. India has faced terror attacks too often not to feel the pain in Israel. The sentiments were repeated when Modi again spoke to Netanyahu, condemning terrorism in all its forms. This is one. He tweeted and he called. Finished. Next, India is also concerned. What's its second big concern? The safety of its citizens, especially as Israel begins its retaliatory strikes on Gaza. There are a lot of Indians who are there in both Israel and Gaza. And therefore, they are flying them back as they always do when any conflict is there. They did it in Ukraine and they did it here. While repeating the condemnation of the Hamas attack, the statement reminded Israel about the universal obligation to observe international humanitarian laws. The fear in the West and in India, Israel believes in massive retaliation, disproportionate massive retaliation. आपने एक को ईंट का जवाब पत्थर से. That is exactly, not an eye for an eye. You take an eye, we'll give you 10 eyes. We'll take 10 eyes. But the point of Israel is, when you look at it from the Israeli point of view, small country, as big as a city of India, and surrounded by enemies, and a history that they cannot forget, a horrendous history filled with atrocities against them. So they are insecure. When you're insecure and afraid and something of this scale happens, what the world feared most was, yes, atrocities have happened against Israel, but most countries, including Putin, were concerned with the retaliation that Israel was going to take. It was not going to keep quiet. If you kill one Israeli soldier, we'll kill 100 on that side. One Israeli child is killed, 100 will be killed there. That has been always their policy. But therefore, in India's statement, it told Israel that, listen, humanitarian law hai. What Hezbollah or Hamas does is not the fault of a small Palestinian child in Gaza. Therefore, they've told him, we have a global responsibility to fight the menace of terrorism, but you remember that you have to use humanitarian measures. Don't forget that. That was one of the things that it said. Then again, next paragraph. All of you remembered the first part and the next paragraph, the message. The statement, yes, Tarun, that is it. The statement is a reminder of the tightrope. Now, the moment it told this to Israel, it also very openly said, listen, we have a long-standing and consistent position where Palestine is concerned. उनको भी अपना rights देना चाहिए. So this is a reminder of the tightrope balancing act that India has been playing since 1992, and then he has explained. One side, it has close ties with Israel. Under Narendra Modi and Netanyahu have a personal bond also. And under Modi, India has openly tilted towards Israel through all this: technological assistance, military procurement, counter-terrorism. Interestingly, I had read an article in the Outlook many years back. Okay, Israel has conscription, compulsory military enrollment and training for most of its citizens. There are some groups who are exempted for religious reasons, but most of them are. And the students, once they are done with that, or once with college, they're done with college and they have to get into that conscription thing, military training, they come to India on holiday. One, they don't face any discrimination. Second, they love the food. Most of them also kind of understand the language, so they like coming to India. And for them, even during the height of terrorism in some states in India, they were not afraid. They went everywhere. They used to it. All right. So here this happened. He was the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Israel, but he was also the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Palestine. Har jagah there was a balance. All right. So even here the policy lines drawn by New Delhi is the same, that listen, abhor terrorism, but not to condone indiscriminate reprisal bombings. No crime. And the last part said, this is also part of its main message, that listen, while we are not saying what Hamas did was correct, you cannot retaliate the way you are. You have to be a little more restrained. Indiscriminate reprisal bombings are not going to help. And India is definitely not happy with Israel's latest demand. It wants the whole of Gaza evacuated, because Gaza is the area where it's considered Israel's weak point. You have both citizens of Israel and the occupied territory. Israel has occupied a lot of Gaza. Where will the Palestinians go? But among them are the hardliners who attack Israel. So who suffers? All the people of Gaza. This is the problem. And as Israel continues to pound Gaza, Delhi's problem is more complex. So what is the main message he is trying to give? That look, we are bound to play the balancing game. Nobody tells I'm trying to, see that I adjust between you and you. No, basically he's saying India must use all. At the first paragraph end and the last, you have to continue to tell Israel that act responsibly in the face of terror. You cannot continue your indiscriminate bombing or reprisal bombings. All right. So message is D. Main point, India vis-a-vis whatever. No, I don't know. All right. If I've given a main point question, I can't give you the answer. Which of the following can be inferred from the passage? If you want me to take you back to the passage, tell me which. Otherwise, if you can remember an answer which can be deduced from the information given in the passage. A, B, C or D. Which of the following can be inferred from the passage? India did not have full diplomatic ties with Israel before 1992. India has always supported Israel against Palestine. India's Gulf policy has been ambivalent and irrational. India openly and completely supports Israel in the ongoing conflict. Tarun says it's A. What about the rest? Saket says it's A. Where are the rest? Quickly. Yes, it is A, because B, C and D are wrong. It has not always supported. No, it has tried to take its stand on Palestine has been consistent stand. It did not say whom it supports, but it has, from the times of Mrs. Indira Gandhi, consistently said Palestinians need a land of their own. That agreement would have been signed if Yasser Arafat had not been. We'll discuss one of these. I'll give you 2-3 passages on the Israel-Palestinian issue. We'll go into the history of it if there is a past editorial. Gulf policy, ambivalent and irrational. No. It has been balancing. It's not ambivalent as much as not even ambiguous. It's been very clear that, look, I have to be very careful not to hurt either. I want to keep both sides happy. That has been India's attitude. And it has not openly and completely supported Israel. All right? Okay. Which of the following indicate a shift in India's policy, and shift towards whom? Full diplomatic ties, close bilateral trade and technological relations, regular visits and meetings, or growing ambiguity regarding its position on Palestine? Which one? Question 3. Shift in India's policy. What did the passage say? India has shifted There has been a discernible shift, perceptible shift. It has been towards whom? Towards Israel. Why? There have been pretty close operations between Israel and India on all these. Right? Okay. Excellent. B. Question 4. Which one can be inferred from the following lines? However, Modi was also the first Indian Prime Minister to make an official visit to Palestine. Netanyahu visited India. Modi was the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Israel. However, Modi was also the first Indian Prime Minister to make an official visit to Palestine. So, what does that indicate? It's vociferous support of the Palestinian cause. Its futile efforts. It's been trying to broker peace. Its futile efforts. Its bias towards Palestine in the ongoing conflict, or its balancing policy. Every time you do something, you say a statement on Palestine, you have to call up Israel and say, bhai, aisa. If you do something on Israel, you have to call up the Palestinians and say, look, this is it. Do they care about you? Yes. We are geopolitical. Our location on the map is very geostrategically important. Alright? Yeah, you can infer India's balancing policy. Option D is correct. Excellent. Alright. First few lines of the passage where he talks about India's Prime Minister tweeting, calling Israel, showing immediate support. So, which one can be inferred from the first few lines of the passage? Both have similar histories of conflict and violence. Both have been victims of terrorism. The scale of violence in the ongoing conflict is unprecedented. India has faced more violence and conflict than Israel. What do you think is the correct one? The first few lines of the passage. Do you want me to take you back to the passage? I will. Let me see your answers first. Passage, okay. No. That doubt will be there. So, Tarun, first few lines yaad hi nahi rehta. Sometimes you read them more. I take more time to read the first few lines and last few lines, but you haven't. Always go back to the passage. The answer will easily, you can identify the answer and save yourself the minus marking, earn yourself 3 full marks. Within hours of the massacre of Israeli citizens, what happened? From here to here. All right. So now can I go back to the passage? Have you read the first few lines? All of you? All right. Let me take you back to the passage now. Which one is it? Okay, again I'm seeing lots of B's. Let me take you back to the passage. Let me just take you back to the passage. While the histories of their conflict and the scale of violence have been very different, India and Israel, the history of conflicts that India has faced and the conflicts that Israel has faced are different. The scale of violence that India has faced, the scale of violence that Israel has faced has been very different. While these have been different, India has faced terror attacks too often not to feel the pain in Israel where this happened. So India has been a victim of terrorism in the past, Israel also, and this is the worst of the attacks. Therefore, both have been victims of terrorism is correct. Yeah, similar histories nahi, option says different. Scale is unprecedented. He has not mentioned anywhere. He has not mentioned. This is auto-suggest. We've read so much about the conflict just to know. Now, normally I wouldn't read. I'm an escapist. I'm like the cat which closes its eyes when it drinks milk. If there's anything on violence, on the kind, I still haven't read full details. It's too much to read on how hostages were taken and all. Just basically read what happened because I have to tell students what happened. General knowledge होना चाहिए. I have to read. I can't say हाँ कुछ तो हुआ Israel में, कुछ तो हुआ. I can't say that. But it's not that I enjoy reading it. I don't look forward to it. Just as I read every newspaper, the version of the reporter of what happened in the India-Pakistan match, I read. Every newspaper's report on what happened in England, Afghanistan, I read. I felt I would have been happy if Sri Lanka had won yesterday. But Sri Lankans also are a formidable team. You can't judge any team actually. You can't underestimate any team. On that particular team, any of these, including Pakistan, Babar Azam can just come back to form. So don't be so complacent. Alright, faced more violence, nahi, a different kind of violence, but not more violence and conflict than Israel. Alright, so answer is both have been victims of terrorism. B. Alright, okay. Synonym of abhor. What is the meaning of abhor? Criticize, loathe, commend or encourage. What is the synonym of abhor? Abhor is to hate. So which of these words means to hate? To loathe. What does commend mean? Commend is the opposite of condemn. Commend means to praise somebody. Alright, okay. So B is the answer. Condone. What is the meaning of condone? Excuse, blame, accuse, or both B and C? Meaning of condone. See, when kids are small, sometimes parents are blind in their affection of children, of their own child, so they condone the mistakes of their children. When the child grows up, he accuses the parent saying, why did you condone my mistakes and sins or errors in the past? When I was a child, I could have corrected myself. To condone means to overlook, to excuse. Alright, मुझे पता था B and C, ma'am, normally A and B का answer A and B ही होता है, C होता है. So she would have given it. Alright, condone means to excuse, to overlook. You've done a mistake. I said, हो गया, छोटा बच्चा है, हो जाएगा, कोई बात नहीं, next time he'll not do it. That is to condone your mistakes. Alright. What is the meaning of reprisal as used in the passage? Reprisal bombings. Oh, why am I doing this? Provocation, condemnation, retaliation, accusation, reprisal. Yeah, most of you got that. Retaliation. Appraise और apprise में difference क्या है? Appraise and apprise. All those who are working, every year you have an appraisal meeting. Correct? Or do you have an appraisal meeting? Appraise or apprise? If you go to a jewelry store and you show something, maybe a earring, and you ask that person, is this a real diamond? Iska value kya hota hai? Kya hai? The guy will go and look he'll tell you this is worthless, somebody has sold you paste as diamond, or he'll say, oh yeah, this is genuine, so many carats wala diamond. So what is he doing? He's looking at your diamond and judging its value. That is appraise, to evaluate. To apprise is to inform. The Prime Minister has been apprised of the latest situation in Gaza. What we know a couple of hours back is that it's just bombing, carpet bombing going on there. Okay, that is apprise. This is appraise. Apprise is to inform. Exactly. All right. Next. What does the expression walking the tightrope mean in the context of the passage? Alright, there'll be a slight difference. You have to see if which meaning works best in the context of the passage. Making sure you say the right things, your official statements are right, nobody gets hurt, nobody gets upset. It's a very delicate situation. You cannot afford to anger anybody, anger either side. So dealing with a difficult situation with care, right? Walking the tightrope. What preposition would I need here? India express solidarity dash Israel. To, towards, for, or with. What's the word I want? To tell them I am with you in this hour of need is to express solidarity with. Alright? Okay, I hope you've been working hard. Our next All India Open Mock is going to come up soon. Registrations have already opened for it. Please register and do take it. We worked very hard to put up a good mock for you. As CAT nears, it's very important that you take as many timed tests as you can, and the platform that we are offering, more people should take the test, look at the questions which you got wrong, talk to a mentor, look at the questions that you got right, work on it so that your speed improves along with your strategy. All right, one important announcement. 20th October, 7 p.m. Gautam's taking NMAT on the 20th of October. NMAT decoded. He'll tell you, he'll give you a detailed analysis, cutoffs, and strategy for this year's NMAT. Those of you who have registered for NMAT, the complexity of the issues that we are dealing with, that sometimes gets forgotten. Yeah. The complexity of the issues that we are dealing with. The first one is issues. The first that refers to the issues. And the second one gets forgotten. What gets forgotten? The complexity gets forgotten. Correct. All right. Scholarship test. If you are enrolling on any of our courses, take it. You'll get a huge fee waiver. Another important announcement. Our crash course is going to begin just before CAT, the last lap of your preparation to CAT. All of us will be putting together our best efforts to see that you get the coveted high percentile to get into your Dream B school. Join us for our CAT crash course starting October 23rd at 7 p.m. I will see you all there. All right, and 27th to 5th is the All India Open Mock. I want to see each and every one of you taking it and tell me how you did in it. All right, join us on our social media so you don't miss any of these new sessions that we're getting for you. All right, I will see you again tomorrow with 3 important topics for CAT, para-jumbles, para-completion, and para-summary. Same time on the CAT YT channel. Be there at 12 o'clock. We'll have a slightly longer session than today because I think I've chosen some 10 to 12 questions of parajumbles, paracompletion, and summary of passages. All right, I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.